Hey there, these are solutions for homework from last night, which was SAB page 12 for Unit 5. And it's about squares and rectangles. And we talked about them yesterday. You should have your note sheet out to help you finish this. But you write as many statements as you can about this square. There are things you can write, like it is a quadrilateral. Okay, what else is it? It is a parallelogram. That's true too. It is a rectangle. It is a rhombus. How about it has 4 congruent angles? You could also write 4 right angles. It has right angles. You could say 4. You can also say it has 4 congruent sides. There's a bunch of other stuff you could write about it. And actually, by saying it's a rhombus, by definition, it has 4 congruent sides. And by saying it's a rectangle, you're implying it's a parallelogram too, but you can have any of these things to say about it. Let's try rectangle. You can also say rectangle is a quadrilateral. I'm going to just write quad for this. It is a parallelogram as well because it has 2 sets of parallel sides, which is what it needs to be, a parallelogram. Okay. It is a rectangle. You could also write that. It has, see, these sides are congruent, and then these sides are congruent with each other as well, but they are not congruent to all 4 to each other. So it has 2 sets of congruent sides. It also has 4 right angles, or 4 congruent angles, for that matter. I think that's about it. Explain why some statements are on both of your lists. Well, we kind of talked about this yesterday in class a little bit when I narrowed down from quadrilateral down to a square. And one thing we can say is, and actually one that really works that says it all, the reason that they're all on both, some of the stuff is on both lists. Let's see, like it's a quadrilateral is on both lists, it's a parallelogram is both lists, it's a rectangle is on both lists, a rhombus is not, 4 congruent angles could be, that's 4 right angles, 2 sets of congruent sides, and technically a square has that too, because 4 congruent sides would be 2 sets of congruent sides. The difference is there's 2 different sets of congruency, where these up here are all congruent to each other. The reason why some are on both lists is because all squares are rectangles. Therefore, anything that's in the rectangle list should be in the square. There's other things that are on the square list that are not there too. Explain why some statements are only on one of your lists. Well, not all rectangles are squares. This rectangle clearly is not a square. If you measured it, these sides would be longer than these. There. The horizontal sides would be longer than the vertical ones. In the square, vertical or horizontal, they're all the same length. If you measured it, you find that out. But basically, this explains it in a nutshell and is the point to the assignment. All squares are rectangles. Not all rectangles are squares.